I am going to my safety deposit box to make a withdrawal of my banana hammock.
Namaste, namaste, hello, and welcome to our lively, informative, topical show in our humble opinion.
Ayo!
Yo. Okay, I have with me together today my panelists. On my right is Prof. Gilbert Cheah. Say hello.
Say hello.
And on my left is Tapuche, handsome Chris Henson.
Tsupuite.
Yeah. Close. So, and me, I'm Daisy Irani Subaya, your cool grandma.
Hello,
All
Grandma.
right. Hello.
Tsupuite. Oh, gosh.
Okay, so today we have a story which begs the question that are women insecure by their relationships with men? And are women also their own worst enemies? We shall be chatting about an incident that checks out women's insecurities and how it manifests itself in silly, peculiar ways. We are also going to check out the question that is raging in people's minds. Who is going to win the race to be the next Prime Minister of Singapore? And today, instead of having a Kotek, Idiot of the Week, we are going to have the Do-Gooder of the Week to leave us with a positive, feel-good feeling.
Yes.
So welcome. And first, let's start with women and their insecurities. To start with, let me tell you what happened. A Singapore woman was told to wear a t-shirt as her swimsuit was too revealing for other fathers at the swim school. Can you believe that? So, a woman who accompanied her 3-year-old son in a swimming lesson was told by the staff to put on the swim school's t-shirt to cover her one-piece swimsuit, as other parents might complain. The swim school in question was Happy Fish Swim School, and they have since clarified that all parents have been encouraged to wear t-shirts in order to facilitate their children's learning process. But it might have been better if the staff had actually said that to Linda, the lady. Instead, they told her that, previously there were complaints about other mothers' swimsuits being too revealing and sexy because their husbands were also in the pool. Well, what Linda said, before I move on to asking my panelists what they think, I just want to share with you what Linda said, because that was something, which I would agree to, because she said, I do not wish to protect the male agenda, not generalizing, to sexualize women's body, and I don't think I should cover up for people's insecurities, spot on, and the poor relationship management with their husbands.
You go, girl.
She added that the first staff member's remarks were very sexist and uncalled for. And I did see a picture of Linda's one-piece suit, and I was kind of wondering, where's the sexy part?
Yes.
I would have really wanted to see more so that she can cover it up.
Conservative.
Absolutely. So, before I tell you what I think, because I'm the only woman in this panel, so I'm going to be very privileged to talk about what I think. I'm going to move on to Chipute. Handsome Chris, what do you think?
This kind of story show mine one. I'm just wondering, Happy Fish, what swimming school?
Happy fishes, they're swimming away like little happy fish.
So there are happy fishermen with worried wives around the pool. You should be more...
Because they're worried, they might put the net and pull one of these sexy
That's the thing.
women
So
in.
this wife should worry more about a sotong, fisherman friend, rather than worry about this kind of other
so
mothers.
What do you think?
I think she must look damn hot, man. Linda, really, mother of a 3-year-old, and other wives get worried about her being in a one-piece, but it's a bloody one-piece. And my wife, we've had swimming lessons with my kid, and she's in her bloody 2-piece string bikini. I like it that way. Other men want to ogle, I said, too bad, dude.
Ogle.
Too bad, man. Ogle you want, boss. Too bad. Right?
Yeah.
But so what? Look, I agree with her. She also said, should their husband could not control their roving eyes, perhaps the husband should be out of bounds out of the premise.
Yep.
I assume those families do not go to hotel pools, public pools, and beaches. I mean, get a freaking life. If they do, I can assume how busy the wives are going around telling people to cover up because their husband is present.
Positively not
I
to
mean,
the
are you
nude
kidding me?
beaches of France and
Forget about
I wonder
that.
about
Yeah.
that.
I mean, stop being fuddy-duddies, and it's a person's right, okay? And if she looks hot and you don't, why must you impose this on her rubbish? The worst part is they blame it on the swim school. The swim school replied, he said, it was unfortunate that we recently seen a rising number of cases of parents complaining about other people's swim attire and that they were uncomfortable as their husbands are the ones in the water. What do you think? Your husband's
Yeah.
trying to hide a hard-on underwater.
Well,
or what?
obviously, I think these women who are complaining, they're passing the buck also. First of all,
Yeah.
they're insecure about their husbands, right? Looking. And secondly, they're then passing the buck to the swim school to tell the swim school, you go and police these other women's outfits because I don't want my husband looking at them. Which I think is just absurd,
When
you
you
know?
say it this way, it sounds even more
No,
funny.
Yeah.
I don't blame the staff, at all.
No, it's not the staff's
Yeah,
fault
but-
at all. I think that they could have communicated it maybe better by if the actual reason why they want everyone to wear a t-shirt is because it facilitates the child grabbing onto the
Yes,
the
that's
parent.
what
they
which
clarified,
explained,
yes.
that's
Yeah.
fine, But I think for them to go around and tell this woman, you need to cover up because other women have complained about you or other women dressed this way. I think that, that was a lapse there on the part of the school. But the bigger and original problem are these women who are complaining that their husbands are ogling. Right? That's the problem. If you're that insecure, maybe you just don't let your husbands go for these swim classes.
Yeah.
But
Confiscate his
No,
phone and
but the-
laptop
the
because
only
he could be
way-
surfing online
No,
also.
but
Exactly.
the only
Yeah.
way you could ever control that is either he just roams around with a blindfold or he's got blinkers on his
I mean,
eyes.
you
But
can't-
there's something else I want to
Sure,
just bring
sure.
into the picture. You see, and this is just what I feel gathering with, when you read about the news all over the world and what's happening, you feel that the world is getting kind of divided between two paths, very strongly now. And there's the right wing and then there's the left wing. And more I've noticed in Singapore that people are generally covering their asses, no pun intended there, to submit to the conservative viewpoint. Because I'm wearing the hat of the business person. And saying, let's say you are running Happy Swim School and there are these kind of mothers who come and complain. What would you do? Would you say, yes, oh sure, we will talk to the mothers? Or do you turn around and say, no? Do you put your foot down?
no.
Or the second thing is it that the staff member actually might have been somebody who was conservative herself and she thrust her own attitude on the mother.
I think it's less an issue here about that. I think it's more an issue of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Whoever complains gets the attention of the staff.
The what gets the grease?
There's a saying, there's an
Yes,
idiom.
yes,
Never heard of it.
absolutely.
The wheel that squeaks is the one that gets the oil. So you make noise,
Yeah.
you will get attention.
But that's Singapore. I mean, there are
That's
enough
Sing-
Singaporeans who squeak,
Yes,
complain,
exactly,
complain, squeak,
exactly.
squeak,
Lubricate,
complain,
lubricate.
complain.
Yeah.
Lubricate.
So in this case, because these women are going and complaining to the staff, I want these other women to be covered up because I don't want my husband looking at them. So the staff, again, this is the complainer, I have to deal with it.
Let's
No, I tell
just say.
you,
No, but it's very difficult to arrive at what is right and wrong because I'm just thinking of France and they want to ban the burkini on the beach. Which is like
The what? What?
which is
Burkini,
like
which is complete coverage.
completely covered.
But that is not
and
because
here they
of-
want to cover up a one-piece swimsuit.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
No,
mad
I
people.
know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But you see, this is what I mean by the conservative or not conservative. So when you look at it as a bigger picture, it's much more. It tells much more of a society than just
This is
a
not
person
about
being
conservatism. This is
covered
not about
or not
conservatism.
The bikini
Conservatism
one
is-
is, but not this one.
This one is not
Yeah,
about
this one
that.
is not
this,
about
This
it
is
all.
about women who have self-esteem issues,
Yeah.
right? And then shoving the insecurities down other people's throats.
Yeah. I think that the thing that these two have in common, right? Both the bikini over there and this woman here, is someone, either the state in the case of France, or other women in the case of this one,
Correct.
trying to police what other people are wearing.
Well, yeah.
That is the problem.
You see, we've always had discussions of the sexualization of women's bodies
Yes.
by men,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And now we need to acknowledge that in many cases, it's the women who are responsible for the problem.
That's why.
Because if we keep pointing out other women are more sexy than
That's
us and they are
why,
honey trapping our husbands, then the women are doing a massive disservice to their
Yes.
own kind.
They bought into it.
That's
Which is
why I
shocking.
want to go to what was it called again?
Happy swim school.
Happy Swim School.
It's a little-
And wear my freaking mankini.
Okay,
You
that
know,
will definitely
and encourage-
equal things
No,
out.
No,
but
I
if
think
you
mankini,
you should.
I mean,
because if you wear that mankini, I mean, I think they will all leave the pool, and there will be nobody
No, man.
swimming.
No,
so
man.
nobody will be able to see you in there.
so let the wives all go for a change.
I don't think the ogle will be the key word here.
Yeah, I do so agree with you.
They
on this
ogle
one.
through their goggles.
I think consternation and horror might be it.
I
Maybe
don't
we should
think
put
so,
up a
man.
photograph.
Because when they put the
Put up a photograph of the Borat mankini and imagine Chris in it.
I am the Borat, bro. The Borat,
Okay.
Borat.
Shall we move on?
Well, I noticed that when we come to these points,
Mankini.
our prof Gilbert,
Mankini.
he can't take this, and I'm really sandwiched in between these
Gilbert,
one mankini
Gilbert,
and one.
I am going to my safety deposit box to make a withdrawal of my banana hammock and pay a visit to the Happy Swimming School.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Happy
you.
fish.
Noted.
School.
Noted.
You
We
do
noted. You go with your man. Go there. Okay.
With my banana hammock.
With your banana hammock. Now let's talk about more sensible and mature things. Leaving aside handsome Chris.
horrible
Why
image.
isn't it-
The horrible
but
image.
why- no, but why was that immature?
So we are going to be talking about the race to become the next Prime Minister of Singapore. And it's going to be very interesting, very, very interesting when we move on to this because, well, I was always rooting for Thurman. So now he's out of contention. So let's move on. And the question is, and I want to bring this up to Gilbert, what kind of leader does Singapore really, really need? Gilbert?
Okay, so you guys probably know there are numerous petitions going around right now, both for and against certain politicians, certain political leaders. Let me just remind people that we don't have a presidential system where there's direct voting of whoever you want to be prime minister. We follow the British parliamentary system where the party basically decides who it wants as its leader. You vote for the party by voting for the MPs. Whichever party controls the majority of seats
Yep.
in the parliament then
They vote
becomes
for
the
the Prime
ruling
Minister.
party, and then the head of that party then becomes the prime minister.
Yes.
This is the Westminster parliamentary
Model.
system.
yes.
Right, yes.
We're all the Commonwealth countries, right?
So it's great that you guys are all where they all have opinions and we're doing petitions, but it really does not
Matter.
matter at all. All right.
No, but it feels good that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are being asked to at least voice what you think, and that's important.
And I have to say, given the PAP's tradition now over the past 10 years or so of being very populist, where they are very scared of losing votes and they listen to what people say very carefully. I'm sure that this does play some role in their decision making and when they're thinking about it. But let me just say this, right? I think that it's so important, whether it's in Singapore or any other country, that we have leaders who are real leaders and not just technocrats who are basically putting a finger up to the wind to see where the people feel about an issue and then to govern from that, which I think is, in my personal opinion, something that the PAP has been doing very recently or more recently. When you look at Lee Kuan Yew, he did what he felt was absolutely right for Singapore, even if it was unpopular. And if it was unpopular, what did he do? He sold the idea to the people, and that's leadership. Leadership is really leading even when what you have to do for the greater good of the country is unpopular. But I kind of feel that, with the fourth generation leaders, they are unable to really sell their ideas very well. And this leads to the point, to answer the question you asked me in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
What is
kind
needed
of leader
for a
does
leader?
Singapore
They
need?
cannot just be competent. There's no doubt that these people are competent. I think that they are
Yes,
competent
absolutely.
and they are, well-meaning and very smart. But leadership requires much more than that. Leadership really requires a certain level of charisma and leadership quality.
Absolutely.
Yes, to be able to move people and to convince them, even if they are against you, even if they disagree with you, you need to explain to them why it's necessary. And you look at Lee Kuan Yew. Think about it, when he first became Prime Minister at the age of 30-something? He had to go and tell people, I'm going to take your sons and I'm going to put them to 2.5 years of military training, because this is what's necessary. He had to do all these incredibly unpopular moves which were necessary for Singapore, and he sold it. And every time he sold it, you see, and that is leadership. I think that is so important. And I think that is something that's really lacking now. And in a way, I can't really blame them, because you think about the talent pool in Singapore is so small, and politics in Singapore is such a thankless occupation. Really, the best people don't want to enter it. People who are able to run big corporations and be entrepreneurs would rather do that than go into politics, because the online atmosphere of criticism and cynicism has become so toxic, and you don't want to subject yourself or your family to that.
A big one.
Okay, all right, go
Big
ahead.
one.
I think that the person who's actually stood out
Oh.
over the pandemic is
Yeah.
Lawrence Wong. I think that he's been able to go on air and explain things and done
But
unpopular things.
in the survey, he is leading.
yes, he's leading.
Lawrence
and I
Wong
think
is
there's a
leading.
reason for that.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
What do you?
So
think
that's
is-
my. It's between Lawrence Wong and Ong Ye Kung.
Oh,
I would
Ong
feel
Ye
those
Kung.
two there. I don't have a strong preference one way or the other, but I do think that the person with the better communication skills, as I said, has got an advantage there.
So,
Unfair
so
advantage.
just to okay.
It's a natural
me
thing
other-
though. It's
Unfair
all right,
advantage.
just to give.
if you have natural communication abilities, that's from you. Why is that unfair?
Okay.
Now
wait.
you know where I'm going.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead. Chris.
Because to me, granted, I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. You're very right in saying the competencies are there for everyone, for that matter. Right?
Yeah, all
it's
four
about
of
the
them.
charisma.
Yeah.
Now, I think that just because a guy comes out very often, to talk to the nation about, updates on the COVID-19 situation and what they're planning to do next and so on and so forth, and the tough announcements have got to be made. No matter what, those tough announcements are softened more often than not by our Prime Minister, our current Prime Minister. Okay? I think that's an unfair advantage. Why? Because I prefer Ong Ye Kung. When he was, and because he's not in this interministerial task force, so he's not seen, more often than not by the public, but he is charismatic. If you hear him, sometimes he, in the past, he used to appear on air on radio shows in the morning, and he'll choose his song. He'll contribute. This is a song by a rock band, like Pink Floyd should be played. And I think that's pretty cool, man. For that dude, it's pretty cool. When he was education minister, I liked what he was trying to do. I liked his vision, and then now he's in transport, right? Sure. LTA, and what's happening with the education ministry today?
Okay.
And as a parent, I see it. You see, as a parent of a kid that's going through a major examination, I feel it. I see it. But I feel that that Ong Ye Kung would have the chops, because he was, prior to being a minister, he was working for the Prime Minister's office, and he would know the ins and outs, just like Mr. Heng Swee Keat. He was also working in the Prime Minister's office.
Hey, no, I have no
Yeah.
problem at all. I think that,
You see,
more power to both of them. Whoever emerges
I just
there,
want to have
I'm
less
fine with that.
bureaucration, less of the bureaucracy, and more of the heart, which I think Ong Ye Kung has.
Okay.
I like him too.
I'm going to just say that the task of a political leader is that he has to do what he believes is good for his country, right? And sometimes I feel public opinion is in favor. Sometimes the public needs more time to understand things.
Yes.
Because I just feel that leaders need to have a vision. And that's going back to your point, that you have a vision, and then you need to be able to
Lead.
convince and,
Yes.
and sell and
Yes.
even explain and justify that vision to your fellow countrymen.
Yes.
At the same time, to be the devil's advocate, I'm just going to say that the Singapore civil service, it works very, very efficiently. So maybe we do also need somebody who, aside from being charismatic or being, a born leader, also is someone who knows how he can leverage and get the best results for the country. So again, we always come down to this point that it's a very, very responsible job. And, there are so many areas that need to be, get into the fit of to be able to take on this role. But what's most important is, and I feel everything that they have done in the past, all the four, It's fantastic work, managing COVID, managing the economy. Yes, yes, yes. It is now that everybody is watching them closely.
Yes.
And so the next 2 years are going to be even more crucial
Yes.
Hello, Grandma.
and critical.
Grandma, can you choose one? Right?
No.
It's a poll. It's just a poll.
It's not right. We chose ours.
No.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm
Okay.
going to just tell you the public needs more time to understand
Sheila,
things.
this one.
Okay.
And that's where I am. The
Okay,
public
let me just
Sheila, this one.
let me
Public
just
needs to
say
understand.
something, okay? I think it's very important. There are two kinds of cults, religious cults in Singapore.
Huh?
Okay, yes, which is connected to this,
Really,
which
really
we
good.
need to be very careful about. The first cult is the PAP cult. That means to say anything the PAP does, the government does is okay.
It's always right.
It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
right.
I know, yeah.
And don't question. Don't ask why they're doing this. Don't challenge. That's the first cult, which I
Correct.
think is just crazy. All right.
Ours is not the question why.
Yeah. The second
is to
cult,
do
the second
or
cult,
die.
okay, is that anything the PP does is terrible and wrong. It means to say, no matter what they say, no matter how much sense it makes, no matter how good it is, just because it came from a PAP,
Yeah.
I'm going to reject it, I'm going to hate it. So
That's
these
exactly
two
like
cults,
the right and the left.
exactly, you need to have critical thinking. You need to be able to analyze what someone says on its own merits. Do not dismiss it just because it comes from the PAP or it does not come from the PAP. I think that this does a terrible disservice to the political discourse in Singapore, and ultimately in a citizen democracy is what we have. We need to really know the stuff. So please, if you're a member of either cult, just snap yourself out of that and get yourself out of those cults.
But
And watch carefully.
At the end of the day, nobody has the right to elect a prime minister unless you're with the Central Executive Committee, right? Of the party.
Yeah.
So,
But that's an MP though. That's an MP who is elected by the people.
Yeah.
And people will know that, this person is
and
destined for
I think
the...
what I like now is that, yes, people are empowered. Yeah, agree with you, Gilbert, that sometimes it becomes very toxic and they go totally wacko. But I'm talking about the majority of Singaporeans who now are watching, following, and in their own way giving their opinion. The balanced lot, the major, the middle path, the ones who understand and are looking. And that's very heartening to see, you see.
Yeah.
So yes, we are watching. And now we move on to the next topic. All right, which is wonderful, the feel-good topic that we want to share.
And
It's
encourage.
yes.
More of.
Because there was a woman and she bought 30 servings of bean curd to thank bus captains at Serangoon Interchange.
Chin steady or there's steady one.
And she didn't publicize it. It was just one of the bus captains saw her doing this
Correct.
and asked her about it. And she not only told him what she was doing, but she also paid for his meal.
Yeah.
But I think
Right.
what was wonderful is that the bean curd was only costing $170. So her total bill might have been $50. But what was wonderful is the thought, the effort, the intent. That's where you clearly realize it's not about the amount.
Absolutely.
Because we know enough people who they do charity and they are needed as well. People who spend, people who give lots of money to charity. And then you have, women like these, people like you and me, small little, drops which are going to make up the entire ocean of graciousness and
You're right,
love
you're
and
right.
warmth.
But I'm also pretty sure that there are idiots out there, a lot of quotates out there who say, well, of course you got all the money you want to go and spend.
Yep.
And maybe she really, her head not that center one, Who got to go and do this kind of
Well,
thing?
these are the
There
cynics.
will be
There
idiots.
will always
There'll
be,
be
but we don't
quotates,
care about
obviously.
them.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be that kind.
Don't be that kind.
You see, there are so many people who are out there who just, they are walking with their phones. They don't even notice all these people who are doing such a good service to us.
Yeah, man.
But at the same time, when you get into the bus and you see so many people, every time they get in, they're like, good morning, how are you? Makan on. It really feels so wonderful to
Yeah.
be a part of a society that cares.
Yes.
And that's very, very
Yeah, I
important.
also want to highlight, this is a nice thing. There was another very nice thing that also happened, which we should call out and give kudos to. It's the family that set up the little community pantry outside of their flat to give away items during Ramadan. Did you guys hear
Wow,
about that?
really? No, I
Please,
didn't.
please share. Yes.
That was just in the news recently, and let me just Google it.
So we have two feel-gooders of the week. And that makes it even more, makes us happier that we are going towards being a mindful and gracious society.
Yeah, the thing about it is that the idea of setting up the community pantry is not brand new in Singapore. There have been other people who have set this up. Basically, they just set up a table outside in a common area and they stock it with products and goods. So this family did that. It was a Malay family. I'm unable to find the story now, but it was big in news, and stocked it with not only food stuff, but they also put up prayer shawls, tudongs for people, just for them to help themselves during this period.
Yes.
And I think this is terrific and needs to be encouraged, because very often people do think, especially in Singapore, where you have a government that has been helping people and doing a lot for generations, that people have come to the conclusion that everything is the government's responsibility to do. That charity does not begin at home, it begins in a ministry. I used to volunteer at the Sunbeam Children's Home for about 7 years. And I remember trying to get people I knew to volunteer with me and go with me. And I had some people ask me, why are you doing this? You're going to try and be an MP. This is what MPs do. They did not see that you could be a private citizen and go and volunteer. It was a foreign idea to them, which I find...
But I truly think that's changing. In fact, what I admire most about the people is there are so many volunteers silently doing their work.
Yes.
This pantry might never have been noticed. The bean curd might never have been noticed. And there are so many of those silent everyday heroes.
Happily
and
enough.
they are doing their bit.
Happily enough. But based on what Gilbert just shared with everyone about that family.
Yes.
It's Muslims doing it for other Muslims.
Yes.
But
there was also another Chinese family that did it for anyone
wonderful.
else. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it is very important for other races during this period of Ramadan. For even when I see cleaners, for example, and I have this gentleman that I always have conversations with in the morning. He's Muslim, and I see him and I say, "Happy Ramadan." It's good to encourage our Malay Muslim friends, and all Muslims for that matter, that during the Ramadan period, keep the faith and have a happy one. And that's something that a lot of non-Muslims don't do, because my Muslim friends wish me Merry Christmas too.
Yeah.
Right? So it goes really far. When
Absolutely.
we make that effort to open our mouths and say something like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
absolutely. And on that wonderful, good feeling note, should we start our closing?
Yes,
Because
with
our ditty was
ditty.
ditty mitty is quite long. We need to give him some time to let us hear what's your ditty.
Okay. Here we go. Today I can see more. I can see more.
Wow, I can see 25,
Oh, God.
Get ready for Chris's ditties.
Yes. In fact, we really need a close-up on that one.
Okay.
No, we don't.
You don't kind of bluff, okay? When the show is aired, you always watch, and then you rewind, and you watch again, then
Oh,
you rewind,
God.
and you watch again.
Gilbert, just close your ears and just pretend you're not here.
Okay, enjoy today's ditty.
Okay.
Here we go. Hello, don't be an auntie. Complain when someone wear bikini. Who cares if you flat or busty? Hubby salivate macam thirsty. Face also look naughty. That's your taiji to tame his titi. Why you say cannot when someone else is hot? You only show your shame, complain and must have someone to blame. Linda, I must tell you, please continue to do you. Now we must have a plan. And I admit that I am a fan. Not only because he has a tan, but because he can. For the future of this land. OYK is my man. I believe that he has in his hand the ability to lead with heart and take us the whole 9 yards. And who says Singaporeans are not kind? Anyhow say, macam them one kind. There are those who are very dicey, Go and buy bus drivers 跑回罪. You are great, I say. Generously want to pay. You know they work hard. You did more than your part. So thank you. I wish I knew your name. You do deserve more fame. For some, your simple act may seem plain. Rest assured, your kindness is certainly not in vain.
Okay, well done. So
The
all the stories you covered for us. Thank you, Chris. And now it's my turn before we end. And there were just two things that actually I wanted to end with, because as we aspire to find a suitable leader, and I'm talking about the race to become the next prime minister, it's also good, I think, to consider what the opposition leader has to say about finding leadership in this country. And to quote Pritam Singh, we must always strive for greater heights at the town council level to continue building the public's confidence in alternative public leaders. So that was one point of view. But before I leave, I want to tell you the point of view of Winston Churchill. And he describes a politician by saying, a politician needs the ability to foretell what is going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, and to have the ability afterwards to explain why it didn't happen. So it's not an easy task, and thank you so much. Namaste.
Okay, so to wrap it up, what I want to say basically is that in both the two of the stories that we talked about today, maybe not the Prime Minister's story, but certainly in terms of the women who have been complaining about what other women are wearing, as well as the good feel-good story, is a situation when people either do or do not take things into their own hands to make things better. So, in the case of the women who are complaining, if you have a problem with someone else is wearing something, or your husband looking at it, bring it up with your husband first, or go and talk to the other woman, but don't get the staff involved in this, because that's just passing the buck, all right? In the same way, when you see people in need, don't just pass the buck and think that this is something that the government should take care of. I have found a story, and I want to call them out because I want to give credit to them here. The Asanul Farik Sani family in Tampines, who set up the table the pantry with, they called it a free mini mart, offering rice, Milo, and instant noodles to help the less fortunate. Fantastic. And also, there was another family that did this earlier, last September, in fact. The Yo family, Ken Yo and his wife, set up unmanned free food pantries in a number of low-income neighborhoods, where they offered rice and noodles, crackers, sardines, and canned foods just for people to help themselves. You know, they did this of their own initiative. And this is what we need more of. We need to be able to feel that we all can contribute, and we can and we should. And I leave you with this saying, is that if not me, who? And if not now, when? Don't wait. If you can help, reach out and help. And that will help us all as a society be better. And don't wait for the government, whoever is Prime Minister. So that's it for this week of In Our Humble Opinion. Thank you very much for joining us. And please do share, like, and follow. And thanks to my fellow kakis.
You forgot.
Be safe and be kind.
Namaste.
And today, Daisy is our brick in the wall. Bye, everybody.
Can you see me? Namaste.